Bud Not Buddy, Chapter 19, Part 2. I went into my mother's room and put my sacks on the bed that Mama used to sleep in when she was a little girl. I put her smiling picture on the dressing table, then reached under the bed and pulled my sacks case out again. I snapped the two silver snaps and started taking out all of my things. I took my old blanket out and remade my bed with it. I wasn't going to need to carry it around with me anymore. I opened the tobacco pouch and took out the rock that said Flint on it and set it on the bed. I took the pouch and the flyers and walked down the hall to Hermione Calloway's room. Even though I could still hear him and Miss Thomas talking and boo-hooing in her room, I knocked on his door anyway. When no one answered, I opened it. He had one of those dressing tables with the mirror stuck on the back of it, too, so I walked real quick over to it and set the flyers and the bag of 4 rocks down. I got out of his room as fast as I could. Whew. Even though it was me who'd carried them around all these years, you'd have to be a pretty big liar if you'd say those rocks and flyers really belonged to me. Hermione Calloway's name was all over the flyers, and his writing was all over the rocks. Besides, the way he had looked so shook up when he saw those rocks for the first time, I figured they meant more to him than they did to me anyway. I went back over to Mama's dressing table and opened the little drawer. I took one of the thumbtacks out and went back to Mama's bed. Then I took out the envelope that had her picture in it. I took the picture out, the picture of her riding the sad, saggy pony. I still couldn't see what she was so unhappy about. The misbegotten Moon Park looked like somewhere you could have a lot of fun. I poked the thumbtack into the top of Mama's picture and walked to the wall that she had stuck all the pictures of horses on. I put Mama right amongst all the ponies and horses she liked so much. I didn't need to carry that doggone picture around. This wasn't how I remembered Mama anyway. Mama was always excited and jumpy, not sad and poky like this little girl. Mama was kind of old when I met her, too. She wasn't young like this picture at all. The picture looked like it belonged. It's strange, the way things turn out. Here I'd been carrying Mama around for all this time, and I'd finally put her somewhere she wanted to be, back in her own bedroom, back amongst all of her horses. I went back to the bed and picked up the flint rock. It was going to be enough. I didn't need those other things with me all the time. I didn't need them to remind me of Mama. I couldn't think of her any more if there were 100 hours in every day and 1,000 days in every week. I couldn't think of my Mama any better than I already do. All I have to do is remember her hand on my forehead when she'd ask something like, "Baby, are you sick? Have you got a temperature?" All I have to do is remember Mama letting me dry the dishes after she'd washed them, how she'd used to say no one in the world could dry a plate the way I could. All I have to do is take 2 or 3 deep breaths and think of all of the books she'd read to me at night, and remember that no matter how long it took, she'd read until I went to sleep. Des Malone was right. I was carrying Mama inside me, and there wasn't anyone or anything that could take that away from me to add to it either. The 1 rock from Flint would be enough. I set it in my sax case. I picked up the saxophone. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I wet the reed the same way I'd seen Steady Eddie do, then clamped it on my mouthpiece. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. If after I got to 10 I blew the horn and it sounded pretty good, I knew I'd be playing along with the Dusky Devastators of the Depression in a week or 2. If I didn't sound so good, it meant that I'd have to practice for a couple of months before I'd be good enough to get on stage with them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I puffed my cheeks and blew as hard as I could. The saxophone only squeaked, squawked, and groaned, and then sounded like it was making up words like honk and raulga and balupa. Shucks. Maybe if I didn't puff my cheeks out right, maybe I was blowing too hard. I counted again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This time the horn only squeaked, squawked, and groaned. It didn't sound like it was trying to make up any words. It sounded great. It wasn't perfect, like when Steady blew, but I could tell that one day it was going to be. Something told me I could learn how to play this. Something told me that those sounds were more than just bad notes. If you didn't have a real good imagination, you'd probably think those noises were sounds of some kid blowing on the horn for the first time. But I knew better than that. I could tell those were squeaks and squawks of one door closing and another one opening. I looked at the picture of Mama that Miss Thomas gave me. Mama was looking right at me with that same soft smile. I know it's stupid to smile back at a picture, but I couldn't help myself. I know it's even stupider to talk to a picture, especially when it hadn't said anything to start a conversation. But I had to say, "Here we go again, Mama, only this time I can't wait." I closed my eyes and began practicing. Shucks. As good as things were going to be for me now, I'd bet you dollars to donuts that Steady Eddie was going to get here early.